Every year, he promised we'd buy a house, said we just needed to save a little more. Then one day, a bank statement arrived. For a mortgage I didn't know we had. My heart pounded as I drove to the address. When I got there, a woman was watering the lawn. "Can I help you?" she asked. I swallowed hard. "I think my husband owns this house." She laughed. "Mine does too." That night, I waited for him with a glass of wine and whispered, "I found our house." His eyes widened, and he knew his double life was over. I, 42 female, have been married to Marcus, 45 male, for 13 years. We've been together for 16. We live in Nashville, Tennessee. I work as a middle school librarian, and he's in sales, insurance, mostly. We're not rich, but we live decently. 2-bedroom rental, older Honda, Target clothes, Aldi groceries. We don't live flashy, but we've always managed. Or at least that's what I thought. From the beginning, Marcus and I had a shared goal, owning a home. Every year since we got married, we'd sit down and talk about it. He'd say something like, "We're almost there. Just another year of saving, babe." And I'd believe him. I'd pack leftovers for lunch, coupon shop, cut down on everything, all for this future we were supposed to be building. Some years I'd push. "Why not this year?" I'd ask. And he always had a reason. "Market's too hot. Need more savings." His credit needed a little fixing. He'd joke about not wanting to live house poor. And he'd always finish with soon. So I waited. I trusted him. Then something showed up in the mail that changed everything. It was a Tuesday. March. Cold rain. Gray skies. I'd just gotten home from work and checked the mail. There was an envelope with his name on it, no big deal, except it was from First National Bank Mortgage Division. I paused. My stomach turned, just a little. We didn't have a mortgage. We weren't homeowners. That's been the story for over a decade. I shouldn't have opened it. But I did. Inside was a basic monthly mortgage statement. It listed a property address in Franklin, Tennessee, and a payment amount. $1,587.33. Auto-drafted. It said the mortgage started in 2019. That's 4 years ago. I couldn't breathe for a second. I just stared at it. Then I read it again. And again. I had no idea we owned a house. I looked up the address. Zillow. Google Maps. Realtor.com. It was a real place. A real house. 35 minutes away from where we lived. I sat in my car for a while after that, thinking about what to do. Every part of me wanted to scream. But I didn't. I just sat there, numb. The next morning, I called in sick to work and drove out to 1227 Bramblewood Drive. The neighborhood was nice. Quiet. Cookie-cutter houses. Well-kept yards. It wasn't fancy, but it was definitely newer and nicer than our rental. There were wind chimes on the front porch. Toys in the yard. A small bike near the steps. And then I saw her. A woman, mid-30s maybe, came out from the side of the house carrying a watering can. She had on leggings, a sweatshirt, and sneakers. Her hair was tied up. She looked like she just got back from dropping her kid off at preschool or something. She smiled politely when she saw me. "Can I help you?" I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. I was shaking. I think my husband owns this house," I finally said. She raised an eyebrow. "Mine does too." She laughed, a confused laugh, like she thought I was selling something or playing some joke. I didn't laugh. I held up the statement. Marcus. Marcus W. Her face changed. She looked like I'd just slapped her. She dropped the watering can. She stared at me for a few seconds before saying, "You need to come inside." We sat at her kitchen table. She made coffee. Her hands were shaking. So were mine. The house was lived in. Really lived in. Photos on the walls. Fridge drawings. Little girl toys everywhere. Turns out her name was Tasha. She and Marcus had been married for 3 years. She thought he was divorced. They had a daughter together. A 3-year-old daughter. He told her he had to travel a lot for work. That's why he was gone during the week. He said his job kept him in Nashville Monday through Friday. She believed him. She had no reason not to. Neither did I. So he was with her on weekends. With me during the week. Every Monday morning he'd leave for work, just driving 35 minutes away to his second family. For 4 years, he forged my signature on the mortgage documents. Used different bank accounts. Different email addresses. New phone numbers. He had a whole second life. A whole second family. And somehow he kept it hidden. That night I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I sat on the couch. Waited. He came home around 6:30 like nothing had happened. Asked what was for dinner. I handed him a glass of wine. My hands were steady now. I'd been through the worst part already. "I found our house," I said. He froze. You could see the exact moment the blood drained from his face. He said nothing. Just stared at me. And I knew. That was the moment it all cracked open. He tried to lie at first. What are you talking about? He said, but his voice was shaking. I told him everything. The mortgage. The drive. Tasha. The child. He sat down. Just collapsed into the chair like his legs gave out. Then the excuses started. I never meant for it to get this far. I was trying to protect everyone. I love you both. I told him to shut up. He cried. I didn't. He begged me not to leave. Said he'd fix it. Said he'd leave her. Said he'd fix us. I didn't say anything else that night. I just told him to get out. He didn't argue. He left. I sat there for a long time after the door closed, staring at nothing. After Marcus left, I didn't sleep. The house was quiet. Too quiet. You don't realize how much noise someone makes until they're gone. No pacing. No drawers opening. No toothbrush hum. Just me, sitting on the couch, the wine untouched, the lights still on. The next day, I called Tasha. We'd exchanged numbers the day before, not knowing what else to do. Neither of us had processed it all yet. She picked up immediately. He came back, she said. Her voice was shaking. I closed my eyes. What did he say? The same crap he said to you. That he loves us both. That it got out of hand. That he was gonna figure it out. She snorted. Figure it out? He's been living like this for 4 years. I asked her what she wanted to do. She was quiet for a long time before she said, I don't know. I have a daughter. That's his kid. And that's where things got harder. Because Tasha still loved him. She hated him too, but love doesn't turn off overnight. And I got it. I really did. Because I still felt that ache too. That stupid part of me that remembered all the good years. All the inside jokes. The way he kissed my shoulder when he thought I was asleep. I hated that I still missed him, even now. A week went by. Then another. I didn't see him. But he was texting both of us. Sending long messages. Apologies. Promises. Paragraphs that sounded like he was writing a damn novel about how sorry he was. Then came the twist. I was at work when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail. I listened to it during lunch, hiding in the break room, my sandwich untouched. It was from a woman named Chloe. Hi, I'm not sure if this is the right number, she started. Her voice was calm, but kind of nervous. I got your contact from someone at the First National Bank office. I think we might need to talk. I was seeing Marcus too. For about a year. I had no idea he was married. Or had a kid. I'm sorry. I dropped my phone. Literally. Just let it fall onto the floor. A third woman. Not just 2 families, 3 relationships. My stomach flipped. I felt cold all over. I picked the phone back up and called her. She answered immediately. She was in her early 30s, lived in Brentwood, and worked in real estate. She met Marcus when he was looking into buying a rental investment. He told her he was divorced, no kids, lived alone. They'd been dating. Like, full-on dating. Movies. Trips. Hotel weekends. He even spent Christmas Eve with her, told both Tasha and I that he was on a business trip. Chloe was horrified. Said she dumped him the second she found out. So now there were 3 of us. Tasha, Chloe, me. We made a group chat. I'm not joking. The group name was Marcus the Magician. Dark humor. It was the only thing that kept us from screaming. We started putting pieces together. He used different names on online forums. Different emails. Burner phones. One time he even told Chloe he couldn't answer calls because he was taking care of his sick uncle. That was the same week he was at Tasha's daughter's birthday party. He had this system. A rotation. A calendar, probably. None of us had proof, but we knew. He must have had notes or reminders. You don't juggle 3 women without a plan. And we weren't even sure we were the only ones. There could have been more. We met up in person. Tasha was quieter than I remembered. Chloe was angry, like, sharp angry. The kind of rage that simmers under a smile. I want him to suffer, she said. Not physically. But I want him to feel this. Really feel it. We made a plan. Tasha agreed to meet with him. Said she wanted to talk about their daughter. Said she was considering working things out. Marcus took the bait. He came over one night after work. And we were there. All 3 of us. He walked into the living room and stopped cold. His mouth opened, then closed. He looked at me. Then Chloe. Then Tasha. No words. Just shock. I wish I could describe the look on his face. It was like watching someone's soul leave their body. Chloe stepped forward. Sit. He sat. We didn't yell. We didn't throw anything. We just laid it all out. The lies. The overlapping dates. The messages. The financial mess. The forged documents. And then, Tasha pulled out a file. She had proof. Paperwork. Emails. Fake business cards. She'd hired a private investigator the week after we found out. She'd been digging. And she found more than just Chloe. There was a bank account in Marcus's name, separate from anything we knew about. She'd gotten the info from a contact she had in finance. Not exactly legal, but at this point, no one cared. The account had large withdrawals. Thousands. We asked what it was for. He said nothing. Tasha pulled out photos. From the PI. Marcus had been gambling. Vegas trips. Online betting. Casino withdrawals. Hotel charges. It was all there. Thousands gone. That's why he always said we couldn't afford a house. Why we were saving just a bit more. It wasn't just the double life. It was the debt. He was drowning. And using all of us to keep his head above water. That's when I lost it. All the rage I'd been holding back came out. I told him he could rot in whatever pit he'd dug for himself. That I hoped he choked on his lies. That the only thing I regretted was not catching on sooner. Tasha kicked him out. Again. But this time, it felt final. We haven't seen him since. We thought that was the end of it. After that confrontation, Marcus disappeared. No texts. No calls. Nothing. I changed my locks. Tasha got a lawyer to start custody paperwork. Chloe blocked him on everything. We figured he crawled back to whatever cave he came from. But 2 weeks later, something else dropped in my lap. And this time, it wasn't a letter or a voicemail. It was a visit. A knock at my door, Saturday morning. I looked through the peephole and saw a woman, mid-50s, dressed nice, looked nervous. I opened it a crack. "Hi, I'm looking for Marcus W.'s wife." I stared. "Which one?" She looked confused for a second. Then said, "I'm his mother." I opened the door all the way. She introduced herself as Janice. She had a soft southern drawl and carried herself like someone used to smiling through hard things. She asked if she could come in. I said yes. She sat down and told me things I never saw coming. She said Marcus was married once before me. Back in his early 20s. Very quick, very short marriage. Ended ugly. No kids. She also told me he'd been in rehab twice. Once for alcohol, once for compulsive gambling. I was stunned. He never mentioned anything like that. Ever. In 16 years. Then she dropped the real bomb. "He lied to you," she said. But not just about women. He lied about the money. About the house. About everything. And he's about to be in even bigger trouble. I asked what she meant. She hesitated, then pulled out a notice. Some legal document. She said it had come to her house because he used her address once to apply for something. It was from the IRS. Marcus hadn't filed taxes in almost 5 years. Not for his real income anyway. Apparently, he'd been hiding money. Under-the-table commissions. Fake write-offs. Using aliases for some side deals. His company didn't even know the half of it. The government was now investigating him for tax fraud. And that secret bank account? It wasn't just for gambling. There were wire transfers to other people. Unknown recipients. I started putting things together. Tasha and I dug back into the mortgage paperwork, into old documents, anything we could find. And then Chloe messaged us again. She had one more detail she'd forgotten. He once told me he had to send money overseas. Said it was a business thing. I didn't think much of it. Overseas? That lit a fire under us. Tasha's PI was still quietly working. She pushed deeper. Traced one of the accounts Marcus had used. It routed through Canada. Then bounced through the UK. Then ended in a bank in the Philippines. We were confused. None of it made sense. Until another woman contacted me. Yes, another. This one came through my Instagram. Her name was Laura, lived in Manila, said she'd been talking to Marcus online for over a year. Said he promised to move to the Philippines and start a new life with her. They'd never met in person. But he had sent her money. Gifts. Pictures. Promises. He told her he was single, childless, and working hard to retire early. She even had a selfie of them video chatting. It was him. In our old kitchen. The same counter I used to make soup on. The same spot where he kissed my neck while I chopped onions. He used our life as a background for his lies. We told her everything. She was heartbroken. She also told us something terrifying. She'd been talking to another Filipino woman in a group chat Marcus had added her to. Turns out he was talking to 2 women in the Philippines at once. Just like us. That made 5 women we could confirm. Me, Tasha, Chloe, Laura, and now a 5th woman, Mia, who was also receiving money. The worst part? They were both under the impression that he was moving there in July. He even told Mia he'd already applied for dual citizenship and had sold his house. He meant Tasha's house. We started to see it. He was going to run. Pack up. Disappear. Leave his mess behind. Start fresh in another country with another woman. Or maybe more. And we would have had no idea if that bank statement hadn't accidentally landed in our mailbox instead of his P.O. box. That's the only reason this house of cards collapsed. All because of a mailing error. We talked to a lawyer. Chloe, Tasha, and I all sat down with a legal advisor who helped us report the fraud. We provided everything. The forged documents, the multiple identities, the overseas transfers. The feds are now involved. Tasha's lawyer is pushing for full custody and a restraining order. Chloe's helping file charges for identity fraud since he opened a credit card in her name. And me? I'm trying to breathe. Some nights, I still wake up panicking, like he's gonna walk in the door and act like nothing happened. Some mornings, I forget for a second and think, I wonder what Marcus wants for breakfast. Then I remember. Then I feel sick. I haven't seen him since that night we confronted him. But I know we haven't heard the last of him. Not yet. After we discovered the women overseas, it felt like we were living in a twisted movie. It wasn't just betrayal. It wasn't even just lies. It was like Marcus had built his own reality, and we were all extras in it. Tasha's lawyer filed official complaints. The investigator passed on everything to a contact in the IRS. I handed over all the documents we'd gathered. Chloe sent screen recordings, bank records, photos. The whole mess was snowballing. But it still didn't feel real. Not until I saw him again. The invitation, it came out of nowhere. Marcus emailed all of us, me, Tasha, Chloe, even the 2 women overseas. One of them forwarded it to us. Subject line, let me explain. Please. He invited us to meet him. Said he wanted to clear the air. Said he'd tell the truth. Said we deserved that. It was ridiculous. But Chloe said, let's do it. I want to see him squirm. So we agreed. Tasha rented out a small conference room at a co-working space downtown. Neutral ground. We all showed up. Tasha brought her sister for backup. Chloe brought pepper spray. I brought nothing but silence. And Marcus? He came in like he was walking into a job interview. Fresh haircut. Clean shaven. Blue button-down shirt tucked in. Like that would erase everything. He smiled like we were old friends. No one smiled back. He cleared his throat and said, I just want to start by saying I'm sorry. To all of you. Chloe crossed her arms. Get to the point. He tried. He said things spiraled. That he didn't know how to stop. That he was scared to choose one life and lose the others. That he thought he could manage it. That word made me snap. Manage? You weren't managing a schedule. You were playing with people's lives. He blinked. I know. No, I cut in. You don't know. You don't get to say that. You lied to all of us. You stole money. You used our homes, our names, our time, our bodies, our trust. And for what? He looked at the floor. Then he finally said something that shook the room. I wasn't just trying to run. I was planning to disappear. I already bought a ticket to Manila. Tasha gasped. Chloe cursed under her breath. He looked up, eyes red. I thought if I could just get there, start over with one of them, I could stop lying. I thought I'd finally be honest. That's rich, Chloe muttered. But I couldn't do it, he said. I kept seeing your faces. My daughter's face. I knew I was a coward. He looked at Tasha then. I was never supposed to be at that birthday party. I almost didn't show. But she asked for me and I just couldn't be that guy who let her down. Tasha was crying now, silently. Her sister pulled her into a side hug. I never meant to hurt anyone, Marcus said. That was the moment it truly broke. I stood up, and I said, you did, though. You hurt everyone. That little girl? She'll grow up one day and learn who her father really is. And the only thing she'll remember is how he lied to her mom, ran from everything, and ruined lives to keep his own fantasy going. He looked like he wanted to cry. But none of us felt sorry for him anymore. Don't contact us again, I said. Chloe stood too. You should be in jail. Tasha didn't say a word. She just turned away. Marcus nodded. I understand. We left. That was the last time any of us saw him in person. The federal investigation moved fast. He was hit with multiple charges: fraud, tax evasion, forgery. He made bail, but his career was destroyed. His company fired him. His face showed up in a few local news stories, just enough to shame him publicly. Tasha got full custody, no visitation. Chloe won her identity theft case. And me? I got my name off the forged mortgage. Took a lot of paperwork and time, but I did it. I moved out of the old rental. The memories were too thick there. Found a little place near East Nashville. Quiet. Cheap. Mine. I still talk to Tasha and Chloe sometimes. We're not best friends, but we'll always be connected in this weird, horrible way. Lara and Mia overseas? They blocked him. Reported him to their banks. We mailed them handwritten letters. Told them everything. They cried too. Everyone cried. But somehow I didn't. Not really. Not after that night. I think the grief burned out. Or maybe I was just done. Sometimes I still feel the weight of it. The years. The lies. The stolen time. The betrayal. But there's something else too. Relief. Because now I know. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not wondering. I'm not buying into dreams someone else feeds me. I have peace. It's quiet. It's not always happy, but it's real. If you're reading this and something in your gut feels off, don't ignore it. That weird bank envelope? That shaky excuse? That quiet voice in your head? Listen to it. I lost so much time trusting someone who wore a mask every day, but I found something in the ruins. Myself. And I'll never hand that over again. Not to anyone.